All right, so the first thing that you need to know about successfully getting clients through Instagram DM is looking human. I'm gonna give you a bunch of DM scripts, DM do's and don'ts, and really easy ways for you to turn your initial cold DMs into booked sales calls. And no, this method doesn't involve taking hours to build rapport in the DM only to get ghosted. And you should stay till the end of the video where I'm able to reveal just how many calls I was able to book using this method. So starting with your initial outreach message, you look like a fool if you are still sending overly polished, super long outreach messages. This is exactly what not to do. Again, the first thing I said was that we want to look and sound human. So at all costs, we want to avoid sounding like a corporate bot. I want you to forget everything you learned about professional email writing or professional message writing at this point in your career. We're gonna cut the BS and shoot straight away with the offer, which again should come across very human. Whenever you're sending a cold message, it should genuinely sound like it's coming from a real person. This is the message that I've been using within my niche. Hi, random way to start a convo, LOL, but if I were to bring you 7 appointments within the next week without paid ads, would you be open to chatting? You'll notice that this message has 3 components, and that is the intro, the offer, and the call to action. Your intro is what catches the attention of your lead and sparks that intrigue and wants them to keep reading. Your offer mentions who it is you're targeting, what it is you want to achieve for them, and how long it would take you to achieve it, as well as sometimes what you are or aren't using to achieve it. And always wrap it up with that call to action, which essentially gets them to hop on a call with you and want to learn more. I will make a separate in-depth video on how exactly to write an offer that makes it super hard to say no. Now, a lot of people don't know that shaking up the way that you send that initial message can dramatically change the amount of responses you get, even if you're not actually changing the real contents of the message. So this could look like sending a voice memo or a video rather than just sending a simple string of texts on a screen. When I go out of my way to put in the extra effort and send a voice memo or a personalized video, that effort definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and I get responses like this all the time. And if you're doing DM outreach the right way, you will typically get one of 3 responses. And those responses are no, who are you, and sure. If the answer is no, literally don't respond at all. And just to prepare you, you're honestly probably going to get some really ugly no's too, but don't feed into that negativity. It's not worth your time or your energy, and just move forward to the next lead. If they ask, who are you? Just give a simple, quick intro on who you are and what your company does. So I typically say, I'm Alex, and I have a proven system to get you more sales appointments. Do you have room to take more clients? And notice here that I always end my response with a question. That's another really important part about booking calls in the DM. If you don't end your response with a question, you are basically asking to drive that conversation into a dead end. If the answer is sure, or how does it work, you give them the same quick intro and you ask a qualifying question if you already know your ideal client profile, but if you're just starting out, you don't always need to ask that qualifying question. Some qualifying questions that I've used are, how long have you been in business? What have you tried in terms of marketing? Or how many clients are you currently seeing? And once they answer that qualifying question, you can either drop a little piece of information or a nugget of advice just to establish yourself as the expert in your field. And then all that's left to do is tell them that it would be easiest to hop on the phone and coordinate a time. Here are some appointment setting hacks that tremendously will increase the amount of calls that you book and also reduce the likelihood of no-shows to your sales appointments. So once you're at a point in your DM conversation when you're ready to set that time, I would typically give them a window of when you're available sooner rather than later. And that's because the further in advance that you schedule that appointment, the more time you're allowing for that lead to get cold. So oftentimes I'll even tell them that I actually have a free minute right now if you're available to chat. But you never simply want to ask, when are you free? You want to provide just enough specificity to eliminate the brain work on their end, which makes it that much easier for them to say yes to hopping on the phone with you. Some people even advise asking in the first place, which I've seen has worked really well. So instead of asking, okay, are you available tomorrow between this time and this time? A lot of people will just say, okay, great, I'll give you a call at 10 a.m. And typically, if they're not free at 10 a.m., they'll just give you another time that works for them. Some people also send booking booking links, but I typically advise against that, and that's just because you run the risk of sending that booking link and having the lead never actually click that link and booking a time to speak with you. So once you align on a time, I would send a few email, texts, and reminders prior and hop on the call and close the sale. So here are examples of this framework in action and a lot of the yes messages that we get. So here we shot our initial offer. She told us that she'd be interested, and we asked our qualifying question of how much room do you currently have to take clients? Because if the lead doesn't have room to take clients, then they wouldn't really benefit from our services that bring them more clients. And then she told us she's pretty open, so we coordinated a time. Here's another example. The lead was qualified after we asked a few questions, and we went ahead and gave just a little bit of advice. And we said, let us know what you think of all this so that we can hop on a call. And the lead said, hey, thanks for that input. I'm interested in learning more about your service. I'm available to chat later today if that works for you, or tomorrow morning works as well. And from there, we went ahead and set a time and closed this client as well. And here's another example of a response that we got after following up. And this lead said, interesting way to start a conversation, LOL, but I'm intrigued. So you'll find that if your initial outreach message is super strong, you'll get a lot of people that are really intrigued to hear what you have to say. And same thing goes for this lead. We sent that initial offer in voice memo format, and she said, oh, super interesting. Yeah, when works for you to meet and talk more about this? And just to prepare you for some other responses that you might get, a lot of people will freeze when someone asks for the price directly in the DM. And though a lot of people say not to quote your price in the DM, I actually completely disagree. If someone truly can't afford your services, then it would be a total waste of time for both you and the lead. So what I typically do is I will give a price range with the price that I'm most likely to quote at the lower end, or honestly the lowest end of that range. This way, if they're hopping on a call, you have an idea that they would be willing to pay that price if they found your service or your product worth it. And also, you're pre-framing them into thinking that they could pay that higher end. So when you go ahead and drop the lowest end of that range, they're preconditioned psychologically, which makes it easier for them to say yes. Some people will ask for testimonials and case studies, in which case send as many as you can. The more that you send, the better. And as always, once you send them, ask them another question or coordinate a time to hop on a call. You want to avoid any chance that that conversation falls off. You'll also find that people want to see your website, in which case do not send them a generic homepage. Send them a landing page that aligns to the offer that you are promoting. And as usual, like I always say, cold outreach is one massive numbers game. So the more outreach you do, the more messages you send, the more sales calls that you will get. Now, if you stay till the end of the video, within 1 month of using Instagram DM to get clients and consistently hitting the numbers, I sent 2,500 DMs, booked 120 sales calls, and signed 15 new clients. And I honestly probably would have signed even more knowing what I know now about sales, but at the time I was super intimidated by sales and didn't honestly really know what I was doing. So if I can do it, you definitely can too. In the beginning, getting sales calls was honestly such a struggle for me. So if you feel the same way, please click the link below. I would love to chat and show you how I can help you get over 100 sales calls every single month too. I also have some free guides below that might help if you want to check this out. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.